I should ask the question, dude.
I can easily dissociate myself or understand that my identity does not lie in my body. But how do I dissociate my identity from the fact that I am not the mind as these enlightened beings, single person say?
Do you understand the question, Vishnu?
Eh, You can
I can
imagine
understand that I'm
yourself.
not the mind, body. How do I understand that I'm not, probably not the mind or the voice that is in my head right now?
You
How
can,
am I?
you can imagine yourself being in a different body, but you can't imagine yourself being in different mind. Huh?
Exactly. If I and you switched bodies also, I still have the concept of me and you.
But if me and you switch minds, then we don't know whether I will be you and you will be me.
I don't even know what it means to switch minds.
For example, have you seen those Doraemon episodes where, your soul becomes the ghost and you can enter the body of the other guy who's sleeping?
Yes, sir.
You've not seen that episode?
What version of Doraemon did you watch? Did you like not watch this?
Hey, there is one episode where Nobita becomes Shizuka, dude.
That I've seen.
Yeah, even like the anime, your name and all, right? They exchange bodies. It's a very common trope in anime and cartoons and films and all, where you exchange bodies, right?
Okay, fine.
So probably many people are more used to the concept of switching bodies, but retaining your own identity and character within that body, thoughts and mind within that body, right? But you don't know what it means to not be the mind itself also. Many people don't understand what it means to not be the mind itself. Can you imagine this? What does it mean to have a separate mind, a different mind?
See, one thing I can think of is you split thoughts functionality into two. Okay.
With what functionality?
The thoughts into two categories.
Hmm.
For one thought is your likes and dislikes.
Hmm.
Other thoughts is the way process the senses input which is coming from the body.
Hmm.
So the processing logic and the pre-existing facts and memories.
Hmm.
If you take and then you
Hmm.
swap out the facts and biases and logic, the facts and biases and memory of one person with another person, but you keep that core processing logic in your head.
Hmm.
Then you are swapping partial mind.
Yeah. So essentially, you're dividing your own mind into two role responsibilities that are acting independently of each other. Right? Why did you even think of that example? Why did you think of that specific way of breaking yourself down into two, or mind into two?
Because that part of the mind which is biases and memories, etc., come from the environment your body is exposed to and come from the just circumstantial.
What about the thought, logic
the
and
thoughts and logic also, that also comes, that is also in a way influenced by the environment only. But there is one part of it, you genetically, by consequence of the starting part of your brain, when you are born, say when you're born, you started off with one structure in your head. That structure, that original first structure, if given the same set of inputs over the years, whatever is there today in your head, as a consequence of that structure is one piece, and inputs plus memories plus whatever the structure processed and put out is another piece.
Okay, you complicated a little. Okay, let's just go back to the let's take a step back here and then you think about why this question even matters in the first place. Because if you there is lots of ways to break down the mind, dude. Right? You gave one example. You gave one way of breaking down the mind into two compartments. Correct? But it's a logical jump to even think about breaking down the mind into compartments. Right? The question was how to not identify as the brain, as the mind. Right? It is not about how to break down the mind into components.
Correct. So it's about how do you even begin to understand that you might not be the mind? Like
What
I
is
have read
define
from
mind?
others who have experienced it, saying that okay, I am not the mind, but I myself do not have that idea. No, I can just
How do
read
you
and
asking
assume.
essentially asking how do you get the intuition that you are not the mind itself?
What is
For
mind?
that, okay, my first question to you would be, why do you think that you are not the body? How do you know that you're not the body? Of course, you can imagine because of movies and all of that. But movies are different from reality, right? Even in reality, you say that you understand that you're not the body. How do you know that you're not the body?
Because scientifically speaking, they say that every cell is replaced in so many days. So you're not even the same body that you were so many weeks ago.
Right.
Right. So something that keeps changing. Yeah, that is my another question. Okay. Why is it that something that keeps changing is not you? It is still you, no? I don't know that. I've never fully understood that argument that, okay, only something that is constant is you. Something that is changing cannot be you. I didn't understand that. Like, what do you, why is every version of me not me?
Let us good take one more step back. What is the point of even defining what you are? Why would you even think about that question in the first place? See, this problem exists because you found necessity that you wanted to define yourself, right? What you are.
Correct. Put borders.
Yes,
Because
you
if
want to
I'm
put
everything, I don't know if I'm what I am.
Yes.
If I'm everything, I
What is
can
the
be
problem
nothing
if
else.
you don't know what you are? What happens if you don't know what you are?
Yeah, more probably. Yeah, I don't know what happens if I don't know what I am.
What do you think happens, Vishnu?
Lack of clarity of actions, dude.
If you don't know what you are,
See, if I don't know, if I don't have innate understanding that I'm human, I can start barking in the streets tomorrow, walking on all fours, or start climbing something like a monkey. Like identity, still. Identity defines actions.
but the way you see, your body is part of your identity.
Huh. It is.
Yeah, what's the problem if suddenly barking like a dog and dancing on the street like a retard or jumping on trees like a monkey happens? Okay, is there a problem with that?
No problem.
No, but
Then
my
why is it
point
that you
is,
want to define? Why is it that you want to put a border?
I don't know. I think it's more like to maintain consistency because if I am something that if I keep changing every second, it's not. I feel it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable in the sense what is not sustainable?
see, identity now is sort of your base beliefs. Those base beliefs will translate to some set of actions.
Yes.
If you have one set of base beliefs, you will have one set of actions. If another set of base beliefs, different set of actions. So you can define those base beliefs in however way you want. You can consider the body, you can not consider the body, you can consider the mind, you can not consider the mind. But you need to see, try and see what actions that gets you from those base beliefs and see how favorable that is for living life for a particular objective. If you want to become CEO of company, does this base belief help you or does some other base belief help you?
Right. So at some point you're making some sort of guesswork. Is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
At some point you're just defining randomly. There is no clear reason for why you're defining also. There's no clear a clear reason for why you're defining what you're defining also.
Correct.
At some point, you just made a decision of your identity. Okay. Essentially, what is an identity? An identity is something that says that you are different from the rest. This is what separates you from the rest.
Correct.
Right? There is a border between you and the entire world. Okay. If this border did not exist, you don't know where you begin and where you end. Whether it is the body also, whether it is the mind also. Correct. The body, it could just be a part of these are just atoms and molecules that are part of the entire world, entire earth. Correct. You are saying that no, I will put a boundary at my hair, my skin, my eyes, of that. This is where I end, and from here it is all air. Right. Similarly, in the mind also, I am Hindu, I am Indian, my name is Varun, right? My name is Vishnu, Ashwin. I am from this caste, I am from this gender. All of these are the boundaries. So you're defining what you are and what you are not. Right? I ended this. The rest is not we. You're making the definitions. Okay.
Yeah.
My opinion. This is even I'm not very clear on this, but I feel like the reason why humans do this, okay, is because of boredom. What I mean by this, no, is that if you do not define boundaries, you are complete in nature. Because there is nothing different separating you from the entire world. Does it?
Okay.
Because there is nothing separating you from the entire world, there is no meaning to any change. There is no progression. There is no growth.
No, but there's a difference. You can, by then you will feel the way the world works, you will feel that you will draw a boundary for yourself in one way, because the concept of a boundary is even understood by animals, it's understood by trees. Even a dog knows that it can move its leg like this without any contact or force or anything. Like it doesn't need to do anything, it can move its leg. But to move that stone over there, it needs to walk till the stone and move the stone. So that the concept of what is internal and external to an identity is very clear. And it's
No,
not,
that is because one thing is more easy to control compared to the other.
so
It's a ease of control, but it's not capacity, no.
not capacity means?
That means there is a possibility that everything else can be controlled also. You are not aware of it. The dog is not aware that it can control the rock also.
Can the dog control the rock?
It can control the rock, no? It can go push it around, no? If it tries. And you can probably see whether you can control something or not is a function of your perception. Essentially, let's say that something happened in America tomorrow. Okay. I can provide some or the other logic, like butterfly effect, saying that whatever I did today has resulted in that. And if within my perception, it is consistent, the logic is consistent. No. I have all grounds to believe that I have affected that change. So within me, that capacity exists already.
Okay.
Therefore, there is no objective capacity. Your capacity is also defined by your identity.
No, but you can define boundaries at different levels. Like you can make your wallet also as part of your identity. What is there? But
Of course.
The thing is you draw a boundary at some ease of control.
That threshold for ease of control is different for different. You can change the threshold is what I'm trying to say.
So there's a threshold of ease of control, and ease of control is the only basis by which you will define that threshold. There is no other threshold in defining what is internal or external.
No, not really. You can fool yourself into thinking that something that you can't control also is part of you.
So control is a key component in defining internal and external.
But it's not the only component. And again, we're going too fall into the conversation. Let's go back to why we define an identity in the first place.
Mm.
Not how. Okay. Why we define the identity in the first place is because of boredom. If you do not define identity, if you do not define a boundary, if you lack the perceptive capacity to define that you are different from the rest, what happens is that the entire world is the same. If the entire world is one thing, you are nothing different from the other.
Correct.
If you have the complete perception of that, no, there is no point of activity.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing but boredom.
Correct.
To prevent boredom, to give some sort of objective to life, or some sort of objective, to generate any sort of objective, right? An identity is required. This is what they talk about, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu telling that he was bored, so he had a cosmic dream. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
No, but I'll tell you, I don't think it's just boredom. There is also the fact that there are biological constraints that you need food and water for yourself. Without which your perception will only stop.
No, you're not understanding. If you are able to perceive that, if you're not able to perceive hunger itself, hunger or thirst itself, then that hunger and thirst shouldn't matter at all to you.
Correct. But if you are hungry and thirsty, then you'll die.
The body eliminate. The body stops working. Doesn't mean you die. No? Again, you have to define what the death means.
That means body is not working.
But then if you're not identifying the body itself, how does it matter if the body is working or not working?
Because if you are uncertain of how the mind is, and if the mind is,
you are saying that there is no way to
body,
prove whether the mind can work independently out of the body. Okay, then that will go into a little quantum mechanic research conversation, where you have to understand that there is a consciousness field. Okay, there is a recent research field of consciousness. So you know how electromagnetic field and electricity works, right? So when there is an electromagnetic field, and if you put a conductor within the electromagnetic field, electrons get affected by it. The movement of electrons causes electricity. You understand this, right? Similarly, there is a consciousness field. Your brain has receptors. Your brain, being in the vicinity of the consciousness field, is converting the consciousness into interpretable thoughts. But the consciousness itself is independent of whether the material exists or not. Are you understanding?
Okay.
If I take this a little more further, no. The body itself is nothing but atoms and molecules. Correct? It is into information. It is just frequencies. Their energy vibrating at different frequencies.
Okay.
If you can encode everything into frequencies, no? Then you can say that there is no real difference between the mind and brain. As in mind and the body. Because that is also, mind is also information, right?
Correct.
It is some sort of change in flux in energy, right? Frequency, that is being interpreted as in thought. Correct?
Okay.
Explained as a thought. You can say the same for the body itself also, no?
Correct.
It is some sort of flux in the energy that is being interpreted, perceived as body. Material. So inherently there should not be any difference. What do you have to say for that? Possibly, it could be. The consciousness field itself is not some topic that I cooked up. It's pretty like what it's under research. I think it's still like people are still researching it. But yeah, consciousness field theory is one branch of, I think, quantum mechanic research. So it's probably under still research. But yeah, The idea is there, no. My opinion is that there is no fundamental difference between the material and non-material. It is only a fundamental difference in the perception. Something appears to be material, something appears to be non-material. So what is the question you had, Vishnu, again? You said that identity is dependent upon basic needs for survival, correct? For that, you need to define what survival even means.
Oh, we to like okay.
So you should define whether survival depends identity or identity defines survival. Which comes first?
Identity comes after survival.
Yeah, so that is the thing that we want to disprove. Where I'm saying that if you're able to not have the perception of hunger and thirst, no, then the identity is what is dictating survival.
See, it depends. Let's say you're born, okay, and you're born with some starting state. That starting state might be a continuation of an ideology and set of thoughts and everything which existed before you.
Let's slow down here. What does it mean by being born? What do you mean by being born?
Body being born.
The body has come out of the mother's womb. Okay.
Body is born, you're starting, your brain is structured in such a way that you will end up living a life with ideas and thoughts similar to some other person. Or it could be new and that is something which continues. But in the end, before whatever, you are creating or using an identity. You also are said, your body is also coming to life and you're experiencing hunger, thirst, eating, drinking, everything. So there is body also. Now the body is just set of information and structure in a particular way.
It's basically genetics, yeah.
It's just things which are put together, which work on the principles of the identity. So identity can be old or new. The body also, for all you know, can be old or new. Who knows what similar structure is coming now or will come in the future. Same goes for identity also. So I don't think it is something which comes first. It is that as life is there, you have an identity and you have a body.
You're saying that you cannot say which comes first. Is that what you're trying to say?
See, you can say that there is an identity with set of base truths and you are the first person to come up with those base truths. Let's forget those corner cases. Forget the corner cases where your body is fully unique and no one has had your body like this before and they're like, you are not a combination of someone in the past and somehow you have done something new. Forget those cases. But in most typical cases, you will have set of base truths which are a combination of this different set of base truths which people have had in the past. Or at least will have in the future once you create them. Same goes for your genetics also, which is your body. So if you have one set of identity, you have one identity and then you have one body. Now you live your life through that one body and then you live your life through one identity. Now, do you consider any subsequent person with partial or incompleteness, your body or your identity, as yourself? Or do you consider them as a different person? That is the base truth which you have to decide. If you decide that this person who is 90% my identity and 70% my body in 2200 is also me only, then your identity is also there, your body is also there.
Can I stop you?
In principle.
You are. We need to first define what identity even means now. I'll tell you why.
Set of base
Because
truth.
No, wait. What you said right now, no.
Hmm.
It seems like you're talking about a meta identity in the sense that you said you have to decide whether the person who has the same identity as you is you or not, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Defining whether something is you or not is defining the identity.
Huh.
Are you understanding? So you're talking about identity and body as two parameters to define whether it is you or not. But whether it is you or not itself is identity.
Hmm.
So the parameters you're using to predict something is the thing that itself.
Okay. So you are unique in one way. You're unique in one way that you have a combination of base truths and you have a combination of things that make up your body.
Hmm.
That combination might or might not show up again.
Hmm.
So,
Wait. You're getting confused, Vishnu.
so whatever is that unique combination
Hmm.
of base truths and body,
Hmm.
that is truly you one.
See, the unique combination of base truths and body also, no?
Hmm.
How do you know it's unique?
I said whether it's unique or not doesn't matter. Someone else might have the same set of base truths and body also. So that means that person is
No.
also
How do you know that it is unique? I'm not saying how do you know that there's a possibility that someone is different. How do you know that it is unique? How would you know that it is unique?
No. So you're telling, let's say two people are there who have the same body and ideology. If you put them through this a particular situation, they would all behave the exact same way. If you put them through any situation, they would all behave in the exact same way. Yeah.
How do you know if they're behaving in the exact same way or not? How do you know that this behavior is exactly the same?
You can't verify, but you have to guess. The ideal imagine situation is imagine you're in a simulation and you put that person in one event and then you put the other person in a different event. If it doesn't look any different, that means it's the same thing.
Right. How do you know that it does not look any different? Let's say that you have developed this experiment and you have the materials required to see this experiment throughout also. Okay. Now you have observed the experiment itself. Okay. You've collected the evidences. You've not only collected the data in forms of video, you've also collected in terms of raw numbers. Okay. Now, comparing these numbers, how can you say that it is equal? Or comparing the data, how do you know it's equal? How can you state it is equal?
When there is no difference.
How do you know that there is no difference? Are you understand what I'm trying to say?
So you're saying observation of difference is limited to what you observe.
It is your capacity to perceive.
Hmm.
If you don't even know what these numbers means,
Hmm.
or you don't even know what this data means, there's no way of saying whether it is same or not same. Correct. And if you have given this meaning, you have given meaning to these numbers and data by yourself.
But that perception of sameness will be consensus.
Consensus, but if you're the only person who is there in the scope for consensus.
And then you decide. That's it.
Yes, sir. So it's in the end, it's a self-decision, no?
Correct.
So coming back to the base point that I'm trying to make, no? Body or base truths do not define the identity. The identity is not defined from a objective point of view. It is completely subjective.
Correct. But body and best truths is also a subjective point of view only.
Actually, you're understanding what I'm trying to say, right? More or less, yes, you. What I'm trying to say is that at some point you're making a decision that you're separate from the rest. Yes. I got that question.
At some point, making a decision that you are different from the rest.
You can use how much. See, you Vishnu, what you just did is you gave
You
me
can do that with-
evidence to say. What are the factors that you would use to say that you're different from somebody else? Correct.
Correct.
How many factors are required, to what threshold that factors are required is all different from person to person.
Okay.
It's all consensus based now.
Hmm.
If you are the only person deciding, no, then it is completely left to you.
Okay.
Right? So you gave 2 factors. I'm telling you, there could be multiple factors also based on the person. Right? Whatever factors you use doesn't matter. But at some point, you're deciding that you are different from the rest.
Hmm.
So survival does not dictate identity.
Hmm.
The moment you decide that you are going to use these factors to decide that you are different from the rest, no.
So you're telling that there is a set of perception factors which has to be determined randomly. And those set of factors is what is there. Is what enables you to derive your identity.
Exactly, yes. So you are deciding your identity.
Hmm.
And the reason why you're doing this is because if you do not decide an identity using some or the other factors, no,
Hmm.
is that you will end up in boredom. It will be all the same. There is no difference. You'll stop perceiving difference.
Hmm.
Does this make sense, Ashwin?
Yeah, we've discussed this before. This much I've understood.
So you're telling you, no, but you can perceive difference. No.
You just said that you don't want. I said, if you do not define an identity,
Hmm.
you are saying that there is no difference between me and the rest.
So for example, if you do not define body as identity, that means every single human in your head is the same.
Every human is the same, and not only human, every single material is pretty much same.
Hmm.
It's all atoms. It's all energy.
Hmm.
There's no fundamental difference. Now, perceiving the entire world as nothing, no difference,
Hmm.
complete quality. No,
Hmm.
we lose all meaning. There's no objective here.
Hmm.
So there is no basis for action also. It is just random action.
Okay, so telling if there is a man walking in a forest, but that man thinks that
Everything is just random
everything
fluctuations in
is the
energy.
same, the tree trunk is the same, the fruit is the same, the grass is the same, he is the same.
Hmm.
And then everywhere he looks around, he sees no difference at all.
Hmm.
He looks at a brown trunk and says, that's the same as me.
Hmm.
Or he looks at a red apple and says, that's the same as me. That means there is no... Yes, so it's just random. We don't know what's going to happen.
It's just random action.
Hmm.
Things are happening. There is no way of perceiving it. There is no making sense of it also.
Hmm.
There is no objective, no target, no success, no failure as a result.
Whereas once you start defining the feature, then you'll start...
You'll classify, you'll define objective.
hmm.
Now there is success and failure.
Now the next question is, did that differentiation come because of the body, or was that there and then the body came? As there was no body, then how would you differentiate between you and your surroundings? You need something to differentiate yourself.
Okay, I understand your question.
Hmm.
The problem is I will not be able to answer it because I have not experienced myself
Without your body.
yet. There could be a possibility where I've experienced myself without a body, but I do not have memory of it.
Hmm.
This is nothing but outer body experiences. If people actually have outer body experiences, no.
Hmm.
Regardless of the scientific legitimacy of those experiences, right?
Hmm.
For their individual truth, no.
Hmm.
It exists.
Hmm.
Makes sense what I'm trying to say.
Huh.
In my individual truth, I have not had this outer body experience.
Hmm.
So I will not be able to answer that question. But
So, in
seeing
a
that
way,
something
until you have an outer body experience,
Hmm.
you cannot separate yourself from your body.
Correct. Yes.
That body is you.
That means you have decided that the body is your identity.
Yeah.
Clear identity.
Hmm.
If you're able to, melt that identity,
Hmm.
into thinking that the body is not identity anymore. Ideally, that should lead for more possibility of an outer body experience.
Outer
Now
body.
that is left to experimentation. You can self experiment. Test out some methods that have been tested by other people. Okay, that will help you destroy the sense of identity within yourself. Okay, and then you probably experience yourself being projected through many other material and sense that feeling of outer body experience. And if you do your experimentation, if you're able to experience it yourself, right, then you can say that for sure that body is not a what is that called?
A defining
Must
factor.
condition. It is not a must condition to define identity.
So until you have that experience, you don't know.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but again, it's still a valid hypothesis, right?
And even whatever is seen in the movies and everything, that are just hypotheses of what might be.
What? Yes.
Like, who knows, when you swap your body with someone else and your brain still has some set of beliefs, but the way you control your body with a different body, it's like you're driving a different vehicle. So you don't know how to operate some things correctly, and you might forget to walk, might not be able to do another thing with somebody else's body like that. So all those effects of what truth might happen if you do that swap between mind and body, you don't know. And
Okay. Before moving further, no, let's organize the conversation. For now, do we all agree that identity is self-defined? What factors are a must and what factors are not a must is up for experimentation.
Okay, we are assuming that we know the definition of the word self.
What is the problem in that?
The self is the perception of the world.
I didn't get you.
What is
What problem are you facing with?
And if you say identity is defined by self, self is what?
Self is self.
So there's no
I don't know. I kind of use identity and self interchangeably, dude.
Self is the existence, dude. Okay. It is the proof of existence. Something exists. Whether it is one, multiple, doesn't matter. Something exists. Okay. The boundaries of that existence is defined by identity.
Correct. Okay. Got it.
So you're telling what you call you is self.
No, it's not. Forget you. Something exists. Whether something exists or not is the first question. Okay. If something exists, it's called a self. Whether the self is multiple in nature, singular in nature, all is not the question. If something exists, if existence is true, then it is self. The boundaries and nature of the self is defined by the identity, which includes the body.
So what about a stone?
It is self. Whether that self has a capacity to define identity is debatable. I don't know.
So you're telling that everything in the universe is either has
Repeat that. Whether that self has a capacity of defining identity.
So in case of a stone, right? To my perception, I can say that it is part of self. Because it exists.
Yeah.
Okay, if my perception is wrong, it could not exist, and there is no self at all. But assuming that self is there, if assuming that something exists, then rock also is a manifestation of that.
Correct.
Whether the rock has capacity to define its boundaries by itself is something that I don't know.
100%.
But I have defined its boundaries, so I have given it identity.
So identity is not necessarily defined by self. Because the rock's identity is now defined by you.
The rock's identity, the existence of the rock within me is defined by me. How the rock perceives itself is out of my comprehension capacities.
So identity is defined by a scope of comprehension. For whatever granularity. It could be rock, it could be body, it could be tree. But an instance where perception is possible will perceive and define identities at different scopes. So if you see, at the root of all of this is a perception mechanism.
Yes. Yes.
So the perception mechanism will choose some factors and it will define an identity. But the thing is, the perception mechanism will always create an identity for the perception mechanism itself. Okay. So that means identity of anything is defined by a perception mechanism and is true in the scope of that perception mechanism.
Identity of anything is defined by a perception mechanism and is true within the scope of. Yes, correct. That is correct.
Yeah, correct.
And typically, perception mechanism creates an identity for the perception mechanism.
Perfect. Yeah. That perception mechanism is being abstracted by the word self.
Okay. And this perception mechanism is enabled by the body.
No. Why do you claim that?
Because I don't know of any other perception mechanism without a body.
That's the lack of perception
Capacity.
No, you
If,
can't.
like Krishnan said, if you're able to experience something, if you're able to perceive yourself externally to your body, then the body is not a this thing, no? Given,
Correct.
so it's not
But then
a
again,
must
that is-
condition, no?
That is a hypothesis. You don't know whether you...
That's why I said it's up for validation. So we have come to the agreement on some definitions of some words. So there is a perception mechanism. Perception mechanism self-defines identity. Okay. Whether the body is a must or not to define identity is up for experimentation. Until here we have come to agreement.
Whether the body is must for perception, not identity.
Perception generates identity. Therefore, as a consequence, body should also be the responsible for identity in the hypothesis.
Okay.
So again, what we have come to agreement is there is a perception mechanism. You call it self. Okay. The perception mechanism itself gives itself and things within its scope of perception and identity. The purpose of this identity is to create objective for action. Because the lack of objective causes boredom, randomness. Is this much agreed upon?
Okay.
Now coming back to the initial question that Ashwin had, what is the initial?
One problem is this. So when you feel boredom, someone has to be there. Now, who is that?
The perception mechanism. There are four entities, man. There's a perception mechanism. It's called self.
Yeah.
It is perceiving things. Then there is an identity. The perception mechanism defines the identity. Okay. Then there is a material boundary, which is the body. Okay. Now I have put the material boundary within the identity itself. It's my hypothesis. My hypothesis that this mental boundary, this body, is part of the identity itself. It is defined by the perception mechanism.
Okay.
Vishnu says that this body is required with the perception mechanism. The body originates the perception. The body is the first. Okay.
Okay.
The body is the first. The body generates the perception mechanism, and perception mechanism generates identity, is what Vishnu is saying.
Ah.
I understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Therefore, to figure out this hypothesis, validate this hypothesis, you need to be able to experience a perception external to your body.
100%. Got it. That is okay. Yeah.
Right. If you're able to experience a perception external to your body, then you know that the body is a creation of the perception, not the other way around.
I think we also, on a side note, we reached the conclusion that the natural state of the universe is boredom or Leela, like play. It wants to play. We indirectly reached that conclusion, but
You mean it's random action?
Yeah.
Random action, random movement of energies is nothing but Leela is what you're saying. Is the right default state of the universe is what you're saying. Within that, these perception actors define identity. That's why it looks like there is an objective and there is, then you have Dvandva creation where there is a positives, negatives, success and failures.
Got it. Vishnu, are you at the same page?
You understand these elements, no?
Boredom is this what?
I said the base state of the universe is random action.
How do you know it's not organized action?
To organize, you need to describe boundaries. How can you put boundaries on the universe?
What Ashwin is trying to say is that if the perception mechanism, right, does not define identity, no, then there's no organized action. Correct? Ashwin is by his default state of the universe, no, he's saying that a state without identity.
No, but you don't know if action will be there at all in the first place.
There'll be change, no? There'll be some sort of change. There is possibility of change.
Possibility is there, but there's also not guaranteed. What if?
No, it is guaranteed. The ability to perceive something means you're changing. There is change.
Without change, there is no ability to perceive
Perception.
it.
Without the change, there is no perception, dude. Perception and change are coupled. If there is a perception mechanism, no, there is
There's
change.
a perception mechanism and there's no change anywhere. That perception mechanism will just be perceiving. That's it.
What is it perceiving? There is no perception without change.
Perceiving anything. It's just perceiving what's around it. That's it.
What's around? There is no change, no.
There's no, but at static level, it's perceiving.
Then there is no difference between any. There's just complete.
How do you define static, dude? You don't even know how to define static then. You define static as something which is like not movement. No. When there's nothing happening, how do you define static? You don't even know anything exists. So you don't even know how to define static.
Correct. So then you have perception of now you can have perception of nothing. There is nothing there. But once something is there, you can perceive something. And once there is change in something, you can perceive change in something. And once you perceive change in something, your perception of that is not random. It's organized. Because you create an identity.
Wait.
No,
You're jumping. See, again, now we have a perception mechanism. What is the role and responsibility of a perception mechanism? What does it do?
It
See, again,
perceives
we're
whatever
going
is
one
happening.
level deeper. We went from self now to perception mechanism, and now we're going even deeper into perception.
No. Self is the perception mechanism. I told you, I've abstracted the perception mechanism into this word called self. I told you, no. The self is nothing but the perception mechanism. There are only three entities, dude. The perception mechanism is nothing but self. identity and the body, material boundary.
Again, that is also hypothesis.
It's like 3 concentric circles now, dude.
Why is this a hypothesis, Dad? You're just defining it. We're organizing it in this way. We're organizing information in this way.
Okay, fine.
What does it even mean to say that this is a hypothesis? It makes no sense. I'm telling that there are 3 entities in this system.
Defining a system, only 3 entities.
3 entities. Yes.
The entire universe.
Yes.
So you're saying there are only 3 types of entities in this whole universe, which is self, identity.
No, we are talking about 3 entities. The 4th entity is the rest.
Okay.
3 entities are of our concern right now.
Okay.
This is the system we're talking about. The 3 entity system we're talking about right now. Okay. The universe consists of these 3 entities plus rest. Are you understanding?
Rest.
Rest in the sense other than these 3.
Okay.
The rest of the other. So the 3 components we're talking about is perception mechanism. This is what you define yourself, Vishnu. A perception mechanism, its capacity is to perceive. Okay. And this perception mechanism, it defines an identity. I'm looking at my fingers. Perception mechanism exists, it defines an identity. In its scope of perception. So whatever is in its scope of perception, it can define an identity to it. It can. Whether it does or not is a different question. It can.
Okay.
Okay. And then third thing was the body. You said that the body is the prerequisite for perception mechanism itself. Without the body, the perception mechanism does not exist. Therefore, if body exists first, perception mechanism comes as a consequence of body, and then the perception mechanism defines the identity within its scope of perception. This is what you said. The reasoning that you gave for this is that you have not had an experience where you are able to perceive something external to your body. Is that making sense?
Correct.
I am telling that the body is part of the identity itself and it is generated through the perception mechanism. It exists independent of the perception mechanism, actually. Sorry, let me correct myself. It exists independent of the perception mechanism. The perception mechanism defines the identity, which defines the body of the boundary, the boundary of the body. That is my hypothesis.
Okay.
The only way to prove it is if you have an outer body, external body, out of body experience. If you're able to perceive something external to your body, then you know that the perception mechanism is what is creating the boundaries of perception rather than the body. Is this clear for now?
Okay.
Any doubts in this one?
So there is one hypothesis which I have, and then you are defining a system with your terms.
No. The system, we are defining the system in the common terms. And you have an hypothesis, I have an hypothesis right now.
Okay.
Your hypothesis is that body first hypothesis. My hypothesis, perception first hypothesis. Are you getting the difference?
I'm not saying body first, I'm saying all 3 are on equal sense.
What do you mean?
It's a cycle. You need body for perception. You need perception for identity, and identity is defined with the body.
See, I can logically counter that, dude, without even giving the experience, okay? If I'm able to brainwash you into thinking that your clothes are part of your identity, if you remove those clothes, you don't exist anymore. It's not you anymore. So some material has been attached to your identity right now, no?
Okay.
And this material has been attached to your identity is because of perception. Tomorrow I cut your hand, part of your hand. Okay. Then I tell you that, okay, see, you still are you. What you were yesterday and what you are today as part of the body. No. has changed. The body has changed. But the perception of you still remains. So the body exists independent of the identity and perception. Okay. What
No, but you can always
decides
choose
your
to
body?
perceive yourself.
What decides is your body is your identity, which comes from perception.
You can always choose to perceive yourself differently. You can always choose to change your identity when you change your clothes or when you don't have a hand.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. The perception can decide to redefine its boundaries.
Correct. Now, if I'm wearing a suit or if I'm wearing a panche and if I'm going to office or if I'm going to the temple, the identity is different.
Yeah.
Body is also different. Perception is also different.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I keep saying that perception is the core. The perception mechanism is the core.
No, but what if you have a perception mechanism without the body? You can't perceive anything. Like, how will you frame your identity if you don't have a body to express that identity? And then perceive the changes around in your environment.
That is why we came to the conclusion that to prove that
Hmm.
you need to have an a perception external to the body. What is the confusion in this? I'm not understanding. You're coming back to the same point again and again.
The confusion is that none of them come first. They all are together. They all exist together.
Okay. The hypothesis that I'm giving is that the perception comes first. The perception mechanism comes first.
When you say comes first, it means that
It is the cause for everything. Without the perception mechanism, there is nothing.
and my counter hypothesis to that
Hmm.
is that without a body, you don't have a perception mechanism.
That's exactly what I've been explaining from that time. You're saying that body is essential for perception. I'm saying that it is not essential for perception.
Correct.
I'm saying that perception gives rise to boundaries which define your body. Now this can be proved by the experiment of experiencing yourself through some other material.
Correct.
That is an outer body experience.
Again, that is a hypothesis.
That's what I'm saying. This is way to validate, not hypothesis. This is one way to validate.
Correct.
See, in a validation mechanism where you are the only person who is defining the consensus, no. You have no other person to verify from, right? The only way to validate something is that you experience it yourself.
Correct.
That will shape your perception in such a way. In this also, I'm saying that the perception is what is going to define what is truth and what is not truth. Correct?
Okay.
I'm able to brainwash you into thinking that your out of body experience is possible. No. Then for you it becomes the truth.
Correct. For me.
In the end, it's all perception.
Correct.
Therefore, perception is the base. Everything else is, even if it exists independent of the perception, to make sense of it, no, to give it names, to give it boundaries, you need perception. And perception is independent of all of this.
Correct. But if I did not have a body, I couldn't even change my perception.
Are you talking about existence of perception or are you talking about change of perception?
Both.
They're two different things.
See, you are telling, if you convince me, that somehow perception is key, then I can change my perception about perception, is what you are saying.
Yes.
What I am saying is, without a body, you can't convince me.
Again, so you are conflating the capacity to change perception with the capacity of perception to exist.
Correct. And if perception cannot exist without a body,
no, perception can exist independently of a body.
and that
For
is
it to change,
what,
you need a body.
exactly what I'm denying. So when you tell me that you can change my belief that perception can exist without a body, it is just leading to a conflicting thought of two, saying that perception can exist without a body, but the thing is, perception is only enabled by the body. So there are two conflicts. You cannot accept both of these.
No. I'm not saying perception is only enabled by the body. I've never said that at all.
So if you're saying perception is enabled, it's possible without the body. if perception comes first and then body comes next, which means you can perceive without a body.
Hmm.
You are saying if you can. Now that is what you are saying. Now what I am saying is body and perception are hand in hand together.
Hmm.
So you are telling if you come and tell me that perception comes first and body comes next, and I believe you.
Hmm.
This is a little meta level. By the way. So you are changing the perception of me who has this belief.
Hmm. I understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And
Go on.
you- is that happening because I have a body which you are able to tell to, and because of that body I am able to perceive? Or are you claiming to come directly to my perception independent of my body and changing my perception about everything?
Okay.
Now you
First-
are changing my perception. The change in perception from you to me is also happening through my body only.
Hmm.
Now without this body there is no change in perception. Just like how without this body there is no perception.
No. Again, you're equating change and existence.
How can you change? So if A is needed for B to exist,
Hmm.
without A, there is no question of B. If there is no question of B, there is no question of change in B.
This made no sense. Sorry, repeat it.
See, very simple, very simple. A is a prerequisite for B to exist.
What is A? What is B here?
Anything.
Hmm.
Now, you want to.
No, you're giving an analogy, no?
I'm
What
giving
does what does this analog do in the conversation that you're having?
If body is needed for perception,
Hmm.
and without body there is no perception,
I have not said body is required for perception.
I am saying that no.
Okay.
I'm giving you my counterpoint.
Hmm.
You say that if
Wait,
you
make it clear. No, you are saying a counterpoint because it sounds like you're trying to find inconsistency in my claim.
So I am telling you what you say cannot counter the belief I have in my head, because with the belief in my head, and I tell you that without the body there is no perception.
Yes, wait 1 second. You're saying that there's some contradiction that I'm making. No.
The statement you make contradicts the belief I have.
Oh.
Statement you say that. So you said that perception. If you change my perception about perception, body, and identity, then my belief will change. Is what you said.
Your perception will change. Yeah.
Correct? No. So you are telling that you can convince me that perception comes first. But what I am saying is, whatever change, whatever convincing you are doing to me is being enabled by the body. And that rejects the fact that you can convince.
No. See, again, Vishnu, you're confusing two things. You're conflating two things. The capacity to change perception and the capacity for perception itself to exist.
When I say that's not conflation. That's not conflation. That is a thought which arises out of the base thought, which is that the body and perception and identity together. It is not conflated if you hold this as your base truth. It is a very plausible next step, saying that if your body is needed for perception, then how will there be change in perception without the body? It is not conflation. It is a different base truth which comes to an out.
Wait. Your argument is all over the place. Are you trying to find out a contradiction in what I'm saying? Or are you trying to say that what you're saying is the truth, so I cannot accept what you're trying to say?
I am trying to say that nothing which you said actually changes this belief that body gives rise to perception.
Why is that so?
Because if you say you can change my perception, you cannot. You might be changing that perception, but that perception change is happening through the body. If there was no body, without the body, you could not reach my perception.
So?
So your theory that I can change your perception and you will believe that perception comes first. You might make someone believe it. But in my
See,
case,
essentially what
in
you're
my-
trying to say, dude, is I said that perception comes first. Perception gives rise to identity. Correct?
I'm very hungry, dude.
You got this point now, Ashwin, what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I got the point.
Essentially what he's trying to say is that perception comes first.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know.
Perception gives rise to identity.
Ah.
He's saying that I am saying this, right? I am saying he's trying to point out a flaw that I'm saying. Consistency,
Correct.
inconsistency that I'm trying to say is that I am trying to say that perception gives rise to identity, identity gives rise to body. Okay.
Correct.
Then if I convince him of the fact, no, then I am altering his perception through the body.
Huh.
Which will make it look like the body is required for the perception to change.
Correct.
This is what I'm saying. No?
That is his.
And I'm telling you for this changing of perception is different from perception existing in the first place.
And I am rejecting that.
Okay, you need to explain why changing and existing is the same thing.
Because if the origin of something is removed, it's like, think of it like this: there's a tree growing, and the seed became the root and stem. If the seed was never there, then you can't grow leaves. There's no question of growing leaves without a seed which has been planted.
No.
Actually, wait, I'll find better analogy.
Essentially, what I'm trying to say, no, is that if something changes, no, how do you know that it is the same thing as before? Okay, so by changing something, you're creating something new. Is what I'm trying to say, no?
No. What I'm trying to say is, think of it like this thing. There is fluctuating current, okay? And there is a bulb. To make that bulb work, you need to switch on the switch. Without switching on the switch, you will never see the bulb on. And say the fluctuating current somehow makes the bulb become brighter and dimmer. You cannot see that while the switch is off also. You need to switch on the switch, which will first you can get the bulb. And the switch has to stay on for you to have the change in brightness up and down. So what I am saying is, for body and perception, this is the analogy. You need the body, which is the switch. If your only means to perception is out, gone. Then how will you have change in perception?
You're saying that
Actually-
without the body,
actually,
the perceptions change.
Actually, Vishnu, in your analogy, the bulb is the body, not the switch.
No, the switch is the body.
No, forget that. Forget that. Forget the analogy. What you're trying to say, no. What you're trying to say is that without the capacity to change the perception cannot exist itself. Is that what you're trying to say? You only know of the existence of perception through the switch. That's what you're trying to say, no?
Correct.
You don't know the perception without the switch, is what you're trying to say.
Correct. And if the perception never changed,
Hmm.
so say whatever you perceive never changed, then you would never notice the fact that it even exists.
Because it is changing, you know that it exists.
And that is enabled by the body.
Oh, okay. Like that is saying. Okay. So the proof of existence of the perception is that it is changing. And the change of perception is enabled by the body. Therefore, the proof of by transitive law, the proof of existence of perception requires the body, is what you're trying to say.
Correct.
That I can agree. That doesn't seem to be logically wrong at all. What I'm trying to say is, it's the boundary of the body.
What is the boundary of the body?
Let's say that this cloth is Allah.
Hmm.
This cloth could be one switch.
Mm-hmm.
Are you understand what I'm trying to say?
No.
You had a switch and light experiment, no?
Hmm.
Thought experiment, no?
Hmm.
You said that there is a switch. Only through the existence of the switch, you know, because you're altering the perception through the existence of the switch, no?
Hmm.
You change the switch and then because of that, the light is changing.
I think better example is stab.
Hey, forget it. I understood your example, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
What I'm trying to say is that you're making one more switch.
Hmm.
ಅರ್ಥ ತಿಳಿದು?
By in a certain.
Yeah, it's some other thing that is external to your so-called body, right?
Hmm.
You can change your perception. For example, I can put glasses to you.
Hmm.
Isn't that changing your perception or not?
Okay.
Is that part of your body?
Hmm. It's up to you.
You said no, anything that changes the perception should be the body, right? That way. Because the change of perception is enabled only to the body.
Hmm. Correct.
If change of perception is enabled only to the body, then your glasses also should be the body.
No, glasses are
We are-
a change. The body is the same. Glasses are a change in perception.
What?
You putting the glasses on
Hmm.
makes the same body feel something is there on your face. What you're seeing is different. Your glasses are no different from fog in the air or flat obstructing your view of the mountains or anything like that.
If I pluck out the eye tomorrow, what happens to your perception, dude?
So that is what decides what is part of the body and what is outside the body.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. No, then what prevents the glass from being part of your body?
Because if you lose your eye, you can't, your perception is gone, right? You can't see. But if you take out my glasses, I still can see. I just see.
Who
different-
said? Because let's take a person who's like practically blind without glasses.
Just still, if you pluck out his eyes, he will be fully blind. He is only practically blind and his perception is being changed by glasses.
There is fundamentally no difference in both these cases.
No, there is a difference. If someone is then no matter what happens in their surroundings, there is no way they can see.
No, you can always put cameras to his thing, nerve connections, no?
No.
Why can't you put? You need to connect cameras to his nerve, put a chip in his brain and put this thing, cameras in his eye sockets that are connected to the chip. The chip will transport these electrical signals into neuron electrical signals, which will give the sense of perception and vision. Now, is it part of the body? Is the pacemaker the part of the body?
I draw that when
You are drawing the line. That's the point.
Yeah.
You are drawing the line, and that is what I'm trying to say. It is the identity that dictates your body's limits.
correct, and that identity is created by perception.
Exactly.
But that identity defines itself a body, and that body is what is required for perception.
See, again, I've told you this previously also, okay? The body and the material layer, no, it can exist independently of perception.
But perception cannot exist independent of the body.
Perception cannot exist independent of the material layer, not the body.
So
The material layer has to exist.
in order to perceive something, something must exist.
That's what I'm saying. It's the object of perception.
But why does the body fall under scope of that?
The body is nothing but identity. What consists of your body and what is not of your body is used something. It's definition basis. It is. As long as there is an object of perception, you can change the perception. Object in the sense like the thing it perceives. The material layer. Actually, you're on the same page, yeah.
Little confused too.
What is the point of confusion?
I mean, my point is that we are just discussing random semantics right now.
No, it's not random semantics. Why do you feel that way? Did you get the point of where I came to agreement with Vishnu regarding his
That much I
claim?
understood. That much I understood.
Hmm.
After that, what are you talking about?
So what I said was, coming back to Vishnu's claim, right? Is that there must be some sort of material layer that exists to alter the perception, correct? And if the perception is never altered,
You can never
there is
perceive.
no way of saying the perception exists.
Exactly.
So the only way we know that the perception exists is because it is altering.
100%.
And the only way to alter it is by having an object of perception.
Correct.
And Vishnu used to use the word body for that. He was saying the body was the only way to change perception. I said, no, it is not the only the body, or what you think is the body. Correct? A thing that is external to your body also can change your perception. Makes sense, I'm trying to say, no. So therefore, the existence of the material layer is necessary for the perception also.
100%. Okay.
Okay. To prove the existence of perception also. With the perception cannot exist independently. It cannot only exist. In Sanskrit terms, it's called Kshetra and Chaitanya. The Kshetra and Chaitanya are coupled. Both have to exist. The perception and the perceived have to exist. Correct? Only one cannot exist. Is this making sense?
Perception and the perceived. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yes. Because without the
They
perceived,
define
it's
each other.
not altered
They
the
define
perception.
each other. They define each other. Without one, the other does not make sense.
So if without the perceived, the perception cannot be altered. Correct?
Exactly.
And if the perception is not altered, you never know the perception is there in the first place. Therefore, because your perception has changed, right? It is proof of perception. Correct? And the only way to change perception is to use the perceived.
Okay.
Makes sense what I'm trying to say. Now, Vishnu was using the word body for the perceived. He was limiting the perceived to body only. He's saying that body is the only way to change the perception. Therefore, body is a must. I said no. Perceived could be anything.
Okay.
It could be external to the body also.
Okay.
So his spectacles also, his sweater also, everything could alter his perception, right? And therefore act as a proof of perception.
Correct.
So we have agreed that perceived and perception have to exist at the same time. Okay. But the boundaries of the body is defined by the perception. What you considered as change of perception has to be defined by the perception itself. Would you consider the glasses to be part of what changed the perception, or would you consider it to not be a change of perception? Right?
Okay.
Then that will decide what the body is and what the body is not.
Got it.
And that is where identity comes. So it's still a decision of the perception.
But one thing I'm saying is the perceived can exist irrespective of the perception.
Why? Why do you think so?
What if you never
We just put it.
perceive?
We just put that without the perceived, without the you said what can exist without what?
Perceived can exist without the perceiver.
How would you know that? Because if there is no perceiver, how would you know that perceived exists?
Yeah, there's no way of saying that it exists, but
It's as good as not existing. No?
For it, Ashwin, dude, imagine that there was some far away planet or galaxy or something which we have never seen. From
how do you
normal
even say
point
that
of
it
view,
exists or not?
It doesn't exist.
Got it. Okay. Okay, continue.
Both of us exist. Both of them exist at the same time
Correct.
to prove each
For
other's
example,
existence.
if Earth existed without humans or animals, then what? If nobody is there to perceive it, then what is it? It's nothing.
It's nothing, yeah.
These are random states of the universe. That's all. makes no sense, right? It's as does not existing. It's as simple as nothingness. So for something to exist, you again leave these two things, and then with these two things, the perceptor, the perceiver, defines the boundaries of what affects it. It is itself defining the scope of perception. That is not, that scope itself is the identity, because it is defining boundaries. What is the question in this?
No question.
I'm very hungry, dude.
What is the initial question, Ashwin?
The question is that
How to stop
can I-
identifying as the mind, right?
yeah.
Why do you need to stop identifying as the mind?
No, it's just a thought experiment that all these enlightened beings keep saying you're neither the body, neither the mind. No, neither the body, probably I can understand. But how can I understand? neither
You
the
are
mind?
just the with this entire explanation, you should understand that you are just the perceiver now.
Yeah.
What you are mentally, physically, first of all, this classification of mental and physical is not fundamentally, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. It is not a classification.
Got it.
It have some sort of meaning with an objective. Okay.
Correct.
But then again, how you define yourself is left to the perceiver's capacity.
100%. Okay, got it.
That will be the answer to your question.
Got it.
This is the logical, theoretical answer to your question. Okay. To understand this, you need to have a outer body experience.
Correct.
This coupled with an outer body experience will actually shatter the thought, shatter the entire concept of a rigid self.
Correct.
Even if I give logic, it has to be validated. That
Correct.
yes, I have experienced it now. I have experienced that the body is not a must condition for the perceiver to. The scope of the body could be infinite.
Correct.
I could change my perception through something that is not even existing in my scope of vision. So something that is happening in America should be able to change my perception.
Got it.
And that should be part of my body also. In that logic, I should be able to define something in America as part of my body.
Hey, okay, we'll go for lunch.
Yeah, after this too, this about
The whole thing.
whole thing.
Who is going to watch it, Varun?
It's an important record. Let it be there.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Just crop the video, dude.
Why?
Nikhil Ram, LinkedIn, Linux Foundation, Miser Trace and all is come on the screen.
Upload this just about it. It's going to be a very important record for the future. You see.
Just you'll have to do that. Just use that this thing, dude. Wait, I'll stop record.